She has she has assets that's about 2.5 million and liabilities and about 4 million she owes. No, her assets is 2.5 million and she has liabilities about 4 million and she owes 1.8 million in back taxes.
In hip-hop, making millions can happen fast. A hit record, a successful tour, a major deal, and suddenly an artist can be worth millions. But making money and keeping money are two very different things. Some of the biggest female rappers in hip-hop have experienced massive financial problems. Legal judgments, tax debts, bankruptcy, and years of financial pressure turned huge fortunes into serious losses. And today, we're looking at 5 female rappers who lost millions or faced major financial setbacks and what happened to their money. Brat. In the 1990s, Brat was one of the biggest female rappers in the game. Her debut album, Funk Daffied, made history. She became the first female solo rapper to have a platinum-selling album. The success brought fame, money, and a lifestyle that came with being a major hip-hop star. But years later, a legal battle would completely change her financial situation. In 2007, Brat attacked a woman named Shayla Stevens at a nightclub in Atlanta. Brat was later convicted of aggravated assault and served time in prison. But the financial consequences didn't end there. Stevens later filed a civil lawsuit against Brat.
I made a turn. I was going up a ramp, and there's people there, and I'm in my Halloween costume. I was a police officer, and I was getting the bottles of Moet, left the VIP room, walked up the ramp to meet my manager.
In 2014, a Georgia jury awarded Stevens a total of approximately $6.4 million. That included millions in compensatory damages and additional punitive damages. For Brat, that was a massive financial blow, and the situation became even more serious. In 2018, she filed for bankruptcy. Her bankruptcy filing listed assets of only around $108,000, while her liabilities were approximately $7.8 million. Think about that difference. A rapper who had once enjoyed major commercial success was suddenly dealing with millions of dollars in liabilities. But Brat's story didn't end there. She eventually returned to the spotlight, continued working in entertainment, and rebuilt parts of her career. Her story shows that even after making millions, one major legal judgment can completely change your financial life. But Brat wasn't the only female rap superstar to face millions of dollars in financial problems. Lil Kim, before social media, before the current generation of female rap superstars, Lil Kim was already a global hip-hop icon. She had hit records, major collaborations, and a career that made her one of the most recognizable women in rap. But behind that success, financial problems were building. Tax issues became a major problem for Kim. By 2012, Forbes reported that she owed more than $1 million in state and federal back taxes.
She has assets that's about 2.5 million and liabilities and about 4 million she owes. No, her assets is 2.5 million and she has liabilities about 4 million and she owes 1.8 million in back taxes.
And the problems didn't simply disappear. Years later, her financial situation became serious enough that she filed for bankruptcy. Court filings reported millions of dollars in liabilities, including substantial tax debts. For someone who had spent years at the top of the music industry, the situation was a major reminder that celebrity wealth doesn't automatically mean financial security. But there was eventually some good news. Lil Kim later cleared a major IRS tax debt, reportedly paying more than $1 million to settle the outstanding obligation. So her story isn't simply she lost millions. It's also about how financial problems can follow an artist for years and how difficult it can be to recover. Two rappers, two very different situations, but the same lesson. Making millions is one thing, managing millions is something completely different. And the next rapper on this list had one of the most shocking financial collapses of them all, Jacki-O. At one point, Jacki-O was one of the most talked about female rappers coming out of Miami. She built a strong fan base, released multiple projects, and seemed to be building a successful career. But behind the scenes, serious financial problems were developing. In 2006, Jacki-O filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. According to court filings, she reported more than $144,000 in debt while listing assets of only around $1,300. That meant her debts were more than 100 times larger than the assets she reported. For any artist, that's a difficult position to be in. The filing became one of the most shocking financial stories involving a female rapper at the time, and while her career continued in different ways afterward, the bankruptcy became a reminder that success in music doesn't always translate into long-term financial stability. Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill achieved something most artists only dream about. The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill became one of the most celebrated albums in music history. She won multiple Grammy Awards, sold millions of records, and became one of the most respected artists of her generation. But years later, financial and legal problems began creating headlines. One of the biggest issues involved unpaid taxes.
She's paid all of her taxes, she has those penalties and...
Right, from 2004 to 2009, she owes zero.
Right.
For federal and state taxes. She owes additional interest, she owes some civil penalties, but she has fully paid off that entire time period.
Federal prosecutors stated that Hill failed to file tax returns on millions of dollars of income earned over several years. The case eventually led to legal consequences and significant financial pressure. For many fans, it was shocking. How could someone who achieved that level of success end up dealing with major tax problems? Lauryn later explained that she had stepped away from the public spotlight and faced a variety of personal and financial challenges. Her story became one of the most famous examples of how even legendary artists can face serious money problems. And now, we've reached the #1 spot, a rapper whose financial struggles became some of the most public in female hip-hop history. Foxy Brown. By the late 1990s, Foxy Brown was one of the biggest female rappers in hip-hop. Her debut album went platinum, she had major collaborations, and she was working with some of the biggest names in the industry. But behind the success, financial problems were quietly building. In 2009, reports revealed that the IRS had filed multiple tax liens against Foxy Brown. She reportedly owed around $641,558 in federal taxes from 2003 through 2006, and once penalties and interest were included, the amount was reportedly approaching $1 million. For a superstar who had once been at the top of the music industry, that was a serious financial setback. And Foxy's problems weren't limited to money. Legal issues, health problems, and long periods away from music also affected her career. The combination meant that the momentum she had built during her peak became much harder to maintain. And that's what makes Foxy's story different. It wasn't one single event that changed everything. It was a series of problems that slowly pushed her away from the level of mainstream success she once had. So, what do these 5 stories actually tell us? Brat faced a massive civil judgment and later bankruptcy. Lil Kim dealt with millions in tax liabilities. Jacki-O filed for bankruptcy with more debt than assets. Lauryn Hill faced major tax problems after earning millions from her music. And Foxy Brown, he was hit with hundreds of thousands of dollars in unpaid taxes and penalties. Different careers, different circumstances, but the same lesson. Making millions in music doesn't guarantee financial security, because sometimes the money disappears through lawsuits, sometimes through taxes, and sometimes through decisions that follow an artist for years. The fame may look permanent, but the money isn't. And that's how some of hip-hop's biggest female stars ended up losing millions. Thanks for watching.